to try to land a big shot. If that don't happen, or if he lands it and it don't hurt Chris, then it's going to be pretty rough for him because Chris is definitely an improved fighter.
Big deal. But who is at the bigger disadvantage? Conor Benn.
But Conor Benn, I mean, this is a guy that's not fought in Britain for 3 years. I think his last fight was in April 2022.
Boxing experts are warning Conor Benn about the dangers of fighting Chris Eubank Jr. Roy Jones Jr. has emphasized that Eubank is an improved fighter and could cause serious trouble for Benn, especially if Benn's punches fail to make an impact. Jones highlights that Eubank holds key advantages, particularly his size and strength, which could prove too much for Benn to handle. Many analysts agree that moving up in weight against a naturally bigger and more experienced opponent could be a risky move for Benn. With Eubank's proven durability, Benn may find himself struggling in dangerous territory on fight night.
How do you see that one going?
Very tough fight for Conor. Not saying he can't win it because one big left hook could change anything. But to me, his best chances are to try to land a big shot. If that don't happen, or if he lands it and it don't hurt Chris, then it's going to be pretty rough for him because Chris is definitely an improved fighter. You understand me? And like even the stuff he's doing now, he's going to continue to get better. But I think when he came down there with me for that year, it improved his foundation. You understand me? So it made him a better fighter. So he's going to be hard to beat for anybody, especially a guy that's smaller than him. But we saw Liam Smith pull out the upset that one time. So I know that gave Ben much more hope that he could probably do the same. So it's going to be a great fight. Both fighters are great fighters. I love both of them. I think Chris is a little bigger and has the advantages because he's bigger, but it's going to be a great fight.
You know what, a lot of people are talking about, Roy, you know about cutting weight and whatnot. A lot of people are talking about Chris Eubank Jr. now being at 160 and maybe being tight at that weight now, but the rehydration clause, £10, I'm saying, listen, with a £10 rehydration clause in it, that won't affect him at all.
That won't affect him at all, but I don't really think Chris was big on rehydrating anyway, so I don't think he's going to get that big, you know what I mean? He might, but I don't think 10 pounds bothers him at all.
Eddie Hearn has pointed out that Conor Benn is at a significant disadvantage in this fight. He has to move up 2 weight divisions, which could heavily impact his performance. Fighters who move up in weight often struggle with adjusting to the additional power, endurance, and physicality of naturally bigger opponents. Benn will be facing Chris Eubank Jr., who is comfortable at this weight class, making it an uphill battle.
When Kell Brook went up to fight Gennady Golovkin at middleweight, guess what? There was a hydration clause with the IBF, and Gennady Golovkin makes it absolutely easily, as will Chris Eubank. But it's just, that's our job, and I mean, no need to moan about it. If you didn't want to do it, you didn't have to have it in there. But they know it's not a big deal. But who is at the bigger disadvantage? Conor Benn, coming up 2 divisions. And Chris Eubank just weighs in what he always weighs in. You know, that whole, they're stripping him down to 160. It's his fucking weight. I don't understand. Stop listening to Simon Jordan.
Carl Froch has shared his thoughts on Conor Benn, calling him a great young man, but emphasizing that he has not fought top-tier competition. According to Froch, Benn is still unproven at the highest level and has not demonstrated the boxing skills necessary to dominate in elite matchups. He also mentioned that Benn has not been active in the ring for the last 3 years, which could negatively impact his ability to perform against a fighter of Eubank's caliber.
I'm not sure what the genuine beef is with Conor Benn and Chris Eubank. I know they've got the history, like I mentioned, the father's name. Chris Eubank seems quite chilled and quite happy and smiley, but every time Conor Benn comes into close proximity with Chris Eubank Jr., he turns into a roadman killer, doesn't he? He's got serious beef. Every time he gets in his face, he puts it on him. Says he don't like him, he even hates him. He wants to smash his head in. I'm like, is this just selling the fight, or is this genuine need? And if it is genuine need, what's it for? Is it why you got so much beef? Is it just because of the family name? Conor Benn could do with winning this because he's 28 years old, and moving forward, he's got a potential bright future ahead of him. Chris Eubank Jr. wins this fight. I'm not sure what doors it opens for him or where it takes him at 35 years old, because in my opinion, at this age of your boxing career, then you've only got 2 or 3 years left, especially at this weight.
Froch further added that this fight is not particularly exciting. He pointed out that Chris Eubank Jr. does not fight frequently, typically stepping into the ring only once a year. Meanwhile, Conor Benn has done little to establish himself as a legitimate contender at this weight. Froch believes the gap in their weight classes makes this a mismatch rather than a competitive fight. fans may not see the kind of action they expect, as there is an evident disparity in their natural fighting weight.
The Chris Eubank Jr. Conor Benn fight does absolutely nothing for me.
Really?
Yeah, Chris Eubank Jr. lost to George Groves, he lost to Billy Joe Saunders, he doesn't box, he boxes once a year. He looked terrible in his last fight. He was slow with his jab, he was leaving his chin in the air, his balance looks like it's gone. He's 36 years old, talking about fighting Canelo Alvarez and taking on all these top, he was talking about Triple G for a while, who's now gone 40 and retired. Conor Benn, what's Conor Benn done?
Not a lot, to be fair.
He beat Chris Algieri and failed, he's failed that drugs test. We're not seeing him do anything. He's fought nobody, he's not developed. He's not developed, he's done nothing. So for Conor Benn to jump in there with Chris Eubank Jr., the only reason that fight would be close is because they're probably going to drain Eubank down to 160, a middleweight. And then, but Conor Benn's having to come up from 147. So
the gap there
it's not an exciting fight. He don't prove anything, and there's no marbles.
Renowned boxing analyst Teddy Atlas has expressed his admiration for Chris Eubank Jr. or S ability. According to Atlas, when Eubank is in the right mindset, he is a very focused fighter. Eubank's talent, combined with his discipline and experience, could be major factors in this bout. Atlas suggests that if Eubank enters the fight fully prepared, he will have a clear advantage over Benn, especially since he has fought at a much higher level in the past.
It'll be an interesting fight. You can make I like parts of each guy. I like the ability of Eubanks when he's right. When his focus is there, when he's right. To be able to do things in a boxing way on the outside. And I love Benn's style and his approach. I do, where being aggressive in a responsible way, in a way a fighter should be, with paying attention to doing it with defense, a responsibility of defense, and just proper way to engage somebody, but the consistent offense, looking to to engage. I think it's an interesting, and again, the thing that the flowers that come with it is the interest of the fans.
Coldwell has stated that Chris Eubank Jr. holds several advantages in this fight, particularly in terms of experience and size. Having competed at a high level for years, Eubank has faced some of the best fighters in the sport. This experience gives him an edge in handling pressure situations. Additionally, his size advantage is another key factor. Moving up in weight is always challenging, and Benn may struggle against a naturally bigger opponent who can absorb punches better and land heavier shots.
I just think that there's size advantages with Chris. There's experience at fighting at a higher level with Chris, but there's also a lot more wear and tear on Chris. Chris is getting older. Making 160 is getting harder, but just getting older is a fact. Age catches up on us, and I thought in his last fight, I did think he looked old. So there are a lot of factors to this fight. There's Conor Benn's not boxed at the level. Not that Chris is an amazing level, but he's not had the same sort of experience as what Chris has had. But also he's sharper, he's faster. And we've seen that Chris can get knocked out, so you don't know what's going to happen.
Coldwell further explained that when a fighter chooses to go up against a significantly bigger opponent, they must have full confidence in their ability to win. However, he cautioned that the rehydration phase could be problematic. In boxing, rehydration clauses limit how much weight a fighter can regain after the weigh-in. If Benn has to cut weight and then struggle to put it back on, he may enter the fight at a disadvantage. This could affect his strength and stamina against a bigger opponent like Eubank.
From the past that were now brought into the present. So yeah, that's good. And I'm glad Chris and his dad have made up, because I know that they seem to have had the problems and stuff. So that's good to hear. As for the show and for the hype, that just adds to it. It's going to be nuts, obviously.
What you're saying in regards of two things here, how much of that Conor Benn having to make up that weight where Eubank is, and also the rehydration, which kind of limits Eubank for the next day. What do you think about those situations?
Well, I'm not a fan of rehydration clauses, to be fair. When it's, I get the IBF, it's world title fight, that's their rules, not a problem, £10. But when it's not a title fight, if you're picking a fight against a guy that's a lot bigger, you're believing that you can beat that man. Well, for me, I'm like, well, if you stick a rehydration clause on him, then you're saying you can only beat him if he's not able to be what he would be against somebody else's own weight normally. So you're kind of cheapening value of your win if you was to win. But I also hear or heard, I'm sure, that Eubank said that he only puts on about 8-9 pounds anyway. So really, if that's the case, then it doesn't really make any difference. So crack on. The question for me is, does Eubank stay strong getting to 160? Because in his last fight, it's also the first time I've looked at him and thought, you look cold. So I don't know. Ben's going to go in there swinging, guns blazing. I don't know what he walks around at. He's not really been a puncher at light middleweight when he's boxed, that sort of weight a couple of times. I don't know. It's interesting. It's one of those fights where you think that the bigger man should win and he should be able to do a job on him, but the pace and intensity that Conor Benn's going to bring as well, it could catch him. It's not like now.
Heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua has expressed his excitement for this fight. Joshua believes the matchup carries a lot of intrigue due to the backgrounds of both fighters and the rivalry between their families. He did not pick a side, but emphasized that the fight will be interesting to watch. Given the personalities of both Eubank and Benn, there is bound to be high-intensity action in the ring.
Joshua. By the way, that was interesting. Eubank Benn, that's a fight you want to see, no?
That is a fight I want to see.
Good fight, isn't it?
For sure, it is a good fight.
Big fight as well, like stadium, packed out.
Are we saying stadium?
I think so. I think
you think it'll do well?
Yeah.
Wembley, Tottenham, Cardiff?
Tottenham.
Tottenham, yeah?
60,000.
That'll work out well.
Yeah, I think Wembley might just be pushing it just a little bit.
I think they can do it.
Only a few certain men can do Wembley.
Boxing's on the big stage.
Agreed.
Look at this.
Agreed.
It's amazing.
You've had a nice little break. I saw you out in Nigeria. Do you feel like re-energized, ready to go again?
You know I do.
I know you do.
You know I do.
Yeah.
But more so after my last fight, I took some time out. Mm-hmm. I let my body heal, which I'm still working on now. And I declined some business opportunities so I can focus on the sport, which takes off mental pressure, not just physical stuff. So I let my body heal physically. And then the mental aspect, I've obviously declined some things that are draining mentally. And I went away with the family, which is always good. And we're back again, ready for...
Amir Khan has highlighted the historical significance of this fight. He mentioned that this is not just about two fighters, it is about their families. The Benn-Eubank rivalry dates back decades, with both fighters carrying the legacies of their fathers. Khan believes this fight is more than just a competition. It represents family pride and a continuation of the legendary rivalry.
That's a good fight, and it's been talked about a long time. And not only that, the fathers have fought each other, they don't get on. So if this is it's like generational history between the guys. So this is where the best man's gonna win. And I think both fighters, it's not like one, they both at the peak in my opinion. They both are strong. So I think the winner of that fight will cement their legacy of which family was the better fighters.
It's mad, isn't it, when you go like that and you go like, rewind 30 years and you got Nigel Benn, Chris Eubank Sr. and their dislike between them two, the family rivalry between them two, and the kids have both picked it up. Did you ever think that we'd get Conor Benn, who was obviously a welterweight, Chris Eubank Jr., who boxed as high as super middle, come down to middle? Did you ever think we'd get it?
No, I never thought that'll ever happen because, you can see the size difference. But then obviously with Conor developing and getting stronger, getting bigger, filling out a little bit more, and then obviously with Eubank coming down, he has to dehydrate himself to get down. So they met in the middle. So yeah, respect to both fighters for one going up and one coming down. But I think it's going to be an epic fight. What a fight it's going to be. But I don't know who to pick. Conor is he's a tough fighter. You can't take your eye off Conor. He's got that power. He's got the explosiveness. But then again, if he hits Eubank with the same shot, is Eubank going to go back? Is he going to step back? Is he going to go down? I don't know. I don't think so. So I think skill might win the fight. So I don't know, I might lean more towards... It's a hard one because last time I was saying Conor Benn, but I think now, thinking about the fight, and now it's more realistic that it's going to happen.
When asked to pick a winner, Amir Khan admitted that he was uncertain. He pointed out that one fighter is coming down in weight while the other is moving up. This creates an unpredictable dynamic. However, as the fight approaches, Khan has started leaning towards Eubank, believing that technical skills will be the deciding factor. According to Khan, experience and skill level will ultimately determine the outcome of this highly anticipated bout.
A rehydration clause, because I've been quite vocal about this. There's a rehydration clause, but it's £10. Now, that's the IBF rules, and £10, Chris Eubank Jr. boxes at 160 anyway, so I don't see it being a big problem. What do you make of that? Does that change your mind?
Yeah, you know what? Every fighter says it's a normal thing. I'm only £10 in anyway. I come light into the fight. That's not true. No, seriously, Eubank.
I know that, mate.
You as a fighter as well. Eubank must come in at least 15, 20 pounds. So he's going to hold that down.
What weight would you put on from weigh-in to when you box? When you got in the ring, how much would you put on?
So £10.
Chris Eubank Jr. faces immense pressure heading into this fight. His father, Chris Eubank Sr., has won more titles and established a strong legacy in boxing. If Eubank Jr. loses, it will reflect on his family name. On the other hand, Conor Benn may have a psychological advantage in this aspect. He has a strong relationship with his father, Nigel Benn, and is motivated to uphold the family name. This fight is not just about personal glory, it is about continuing a rivalry that has existed for generations. This breakdown provides insights from various experts, highlighting key factors that could shape the outcome of the fight. From experience and size advantages to the pressures of family legacies, this bout presents several intriguing dynamics that fans and analysts will be watching closely.
Won a winner, he failed. And that's not something that happened to his dad. His dad had, countless world title level fights. There's still time for Conor Benn to fulfill his dad's legacy. I think Eubank Jr. is the one with actually the more pressure here in this fight for that reason, because your dad officially, even though one of them was a dodgy decision in the draw, a lot of people thought that the draw between the two dads should have gone to Nigel. He's a win and a draw in this. If you then go in that fight and lose, that's actually a bad mark on the Eubank name, and that now that Benn are at least level, if not in a lot of people's eyes, 2-1 winning. Whereas if Conor Benn loses, well, my dad lost before to a Eubank. It's not the end of the fucking world. There's more pressure on Eubank, yeah, and he's actually adding a lot of pressure on himself in the way he's talking, which I kind of admire.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned until next time.